to Space Engineers DIC expansion. This is going to be a quick sort of a video, just updating you guys on the base, because as you can see I've done quite a lot. And next episode we will get back into, back into the story basically. The reason why I want to separate it is just so people have the opportunity to skip it if they don't want to see the base update. Alright, so Jesus, where to start? The first thing I started to work on was the connection tubes. So I was building out towards the assembly room and I realized that I wanted to branch off from the connection tube. So I built an intersection basically. All I did is I grabbed 2 connection tube blueprints and laid them down in a crisscross pattern, welded up the ends, and then custom built the center to make it all merge in. And then I placed a massive bloody turret on top for some reason. It's probably a little bit overkill because we've got these defense towers now. But I built this before I had decided to do that. So yeah, I've just left them here. Now I said that I wasn't going to use these because they were expensive. But honestly, they're not that expensive to make. The most notable is the 250 superconductors, but we've got a fair bit of gold and we are on the moon, so we can get gold fairly easily. So that wasn't the main concern. The main concern was obviously the energy requirements to actually power them. But after running some tests, it looks like we are able to run them with our tier 1 batteries that we have in the central hub, but only for short amounts of time. So if we have a battle that tests our endurance, we're gonna lose. So I've designed the base in a way that it should be able to end fights very quickly. So we have a lot of firepower, but we can't use it for very long. We need to make sure we drop whatever is threatening us fairly quickly. Something I noticed is this turret here has a bad habit of destroying these turrets on the side. Most of the time the turrets are pretty good. They won't shoot if they don't have line of sight, which means that they won't shoot through their own structure. But every now and then there might be an instance where it just clips the edge of armor blocks and stuff like that, which is a bit of a shame, but there's not really much I can do about it. I did try to run smart turrets too, because of the issue with the turrets, shooting our own base. It didn't seem to have that much of effect, because there is an option with smart turrets too to stop turrets from shooting through friendly grids. But from what I could tell, they never shot through MAR, even on vanilla settings. They, like I said, they did occasionally clip the edge of the armor and stuff, just because they misjudge the width of their volley. One of the good things about smart turrets too is you can set it up so turrets only shoot certain components. And that was brilliant. They basically take the teeth off the ship and then that's it. And then that leaves a lot more salvage for you. Whereas the vanilla turrets will, they'll just keep shooting and shooting every single functional block on the ship, so that by the time it lands, there is nothing to salvage. And that sort of annoys me because I like salvaging. I think that's a fun part of it. But yeah, whatever. I can't run smart turrets too because it drops the sim speed down to 0.5. And right now we have around 0.9 with Bob running like this, and you know, all the shit that's going on. Okay, so I blueprinted this so I could paste it down wherever I wanted, basically. And I also made a T intersection as well. Just doing the same process, but with one of these, basically. I just cut off one of the ends and then re-welded it up to be just a straight edge. Then I also made a blueprint for an end cap that I can put on the ends of any connection tubes that we're not using at the certain time. So it just has 2 doors in it, basically. So it just creates an airlock that I can place on the end. I've also got signs up so we can see which direction to go to get to the different rooms, because I was actually getting lost running around in these tubes. Okay, so after I had that all sorted out, I built the landing pads, and they basically just like, I blueprinted this as well so I could place down more of them, but they line up directly with one of the end caps. So yeah, they just snaps together basically. And then all I have to do is run the conveyor tube up to the small cargo container. So I do have a cargo container there just for quick access outside, so I don't have to run inside the base. The only trouble is I only have these end caps at this end of the base. I don't have any up the front here, so yeah, I don't know. There's quite a few design flaws, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. Alright, so after the landing pads, I started working on the assembly room, and I wanted to shrink this down. I didn't want it to be as big as the bloody refinery room. So I got kind of a dome shape out of it. I'm pretty happy with it. And I continued on with the blast door mechanisms that slide up over the windows. There's not it's not a very good view from inside. Well, it's good, but it's not as good as the refinery room, that's for sure. And we do have a quick access airlock to get directly inside and outside. Alright, so we've got 6 assemblers, all with speed modules. I've got air vents in the under the floor here. The air pressurization is bugging out on this save. I think I might have overdone it with how much area is being pressurized, because every time I come inside, the room depressurizes completely. It doesn't matter if I have an airlock or what. It just, yeah, it's just bugging out. I think it's just because I have so much area that is pressurized. So yeah, that's a shame. That means our airlocks are basically pointless, and I have to go through all these doors for no reason at all. Okay, so this is a fairly simple room. As you can see, I was starting to lose interest in the build. We've got catwalks here which look bad. It looks like it vents to the outside, but they actually these are actually airtight. They work like windows, because I originally had them down here over the top of the air vents, and I thought, yeah, that'd look pretty cool. And then I would place them down and it would pressurize in that little cube, but not out here. So I had to swap it out and put some vents in. Okay, and then yeah, obviously we have the middle door there that goes back into the central hub. Actually, I should probably close up the doors just so you can see them in action. So this was my original idea because I just wanted it to come up from out of the ground and go up over the entire thing. Yeah, so it worked out pretty good. Looks nice and secure. And yeah, the view is still pretty good. Oops. Yeah, still decent, but yeah, it's nowhere near as good as the refinery room, that's for sure. Oh yeah, and we've got blast doors up in the roof there as well, so there's a bit of a skylight. It's pretty cool. All right, so I took a blueprint of that building because I knew I wanted to reuse it for a smaller, for the medical room, basically. All right, so let's go across to the central hub and we'll have a look at the next module that I started working on. Yeah, see, depressurized. I've got to refill this entire room again, even though it was pressurized. All right, so straight across from the central hub is the medical facility. It also has quick access points, so we can get in from outside if we need to, basically. So there's the medical room. I'm just going to get some energy because I know I'm getting low. Okay, so it's essentially the same, but you might notice that the door is actually lower on this one. And that's because of basically the curvature of the moon. It resulted in the terrain dropping down a fair bit, so I had to drop the building down as well, which meant that the door from the merging section was it was up too high, basically. So I had to redesign it all to make it fit properly. Or is it the other way around? Actually, I think it was the other way around. I think the building, I had to raise it up a little bit. I don't know. It was a pain in the ass anyway. All right, so yeah, that's the that medical room. We've just got some just some small turrets, and there's a little defense turret in the middle there for missiles and stuff like that. Small ships and missiles, that's what I have it set to. And then yeah, we've just got some hydrogen generators and oxygen tanks, some beds. As you can tell, I was getting pretty over it by this point. Like I enjoyed building the actual building itself, like the shape of it, but when it came to decorating the inside, I was losing interest in that. So my interior design is lacking. All right, next I worked on this room here, which is the storage room. So I swapped out that section there for a T intersection, and basically just blueprinted the refinery room, put it down here. Obviously welded up the doors and everything, and then swapped out the internals for cargo storage. So we got 14 large cargo containers in here. And we're running out of resources so bad. We're nearly out of iron, believe it or not. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, this is pretty bare bones as well. That goes back into the, well actually this should be changed. Oh, no, I guess it does lead to the central hub. Okay, so the very last structure I started working on is the defense tower. This thing is massive. The idea of it was I wanted it to sit up over the top of the base, but I do admit that this is taller than what I imagined. It was only meant to be like around this height, like just sitting above the rest of the base. But one thing led to another, and then I ended up with this height. And I was only meant to have 2 of these large batteries on top as well. And I don't know, when I started playing around with the design, putting 4 on the top and sort of making this radial symmetry, just, I don't know, just seemed to work out a lot better. This is the only place where we have these turrets facing vertical, because I noticed that these turrets here, they don't actually lift all the way up. They have a limited elevation. And so that made a massive blind spot right above our base where none of the turrets could shoot. So at least with the defense towers, we've got turrets that can actually shoot straight up. Obviously these ones can't shoot out sideways, but that's fine because we've got enough of these turrets to pick up the slack. And you might notice that I did change our accent color from the purple to the cyan, and that's purely because of these weapons that we're using. That's the color that they are, so I thought I'd just carry that theme. Alright, so we got some bay windows here, which can be closed up with the lazy man blast protection. I really should have done the proper blast door one, but it just, like, they take so long to get set up properly, and I couldn't be bothered. Yeah, so this works out pretty good. They come out 2 blocks and lock right up against this corner here, and these ones obviously come up and lock up against this corner. Although I believe I have used light armor here, so it's pointless. Yeah. So 1 stray bullet will take out this this armor block here, and then you'll be able to shoot through because there'll be a small gap in between the hangar door. Alright, so there's 4 entrances onto this place. 1 from the connection tube, and then 3 from outside. Alright, so I wanted to have a medical room in here. So the defense towers are sort of like a emergency center. So you can respawn here, you can get health and stuff. And most importantly, there's control stations that you can control turrets from. Alright, so we've got a bit of a maze in here, but this entrance is replicated on the other side. So it's just a direct mirror. And this one at the back here obviously goes up to the connection tube. And then in the center we have it's a jetpack tube. It's a quick way to get up to the next floor. But if there's an emergency and you don't have access to hydrogen, there is stairs on both sides that run up there. Alright, so we just go up to the top here. And then our 4 bay window sections, they have command modules tucked in there. The view's not that great, but I really liked how that slope just runs down and meets up with the top of the consoles. I think that looked really, really cool, so I sort of kept it. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So obviously we can come up here and then start controlling turrets and whatnot. so we can close them all up. Very cool. And then if we go into spectator cam, you can see it all closed up. I wonder how many of you have already spotted the face. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's very prominent in my opinion. But yeah, that's the defense tower. Massive. Alright, so I am in the process of making the second defense tower. But resources are getting slim at the moment. I'm not 100% sure if we're actually going to be able to finish it. So there's one more crucial component of the base that I want to build, and that's going to be this section off here. Basically, I wanted the original plan was to make a rocket silo. So have something that goes into the ground where we can hide our rocket. But with how my game is running, I don't think I want to go with more subgrids and stuff like that. So I think what we'll end up doing is just having a launch pad, and the rocket will just be vulnerable sitting on top of the launch pad. And the rocket is something I want to reuse. So basically it's going to be the one we launched to Mother DIC to get the cargo components to her. And then I want it to come back down and land on the landing pad, which I have a couple of ideas of how I'm going to do it. I think it'll be pretty cool, and it shouldn't require any subgrids, I'm hoping. I'm going to do it with merge blocks. We do have an issue with power generation, because obviously this tower can't be here. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. I was thinking maybe we could start hunting some pirates for uranium, and then we could have reactors inside the central hub or something like that. And we could get our power that way. Because I don't want to have, like, there's a shitload of gold in this solar panel here. And this is the first thing that always gets shot in every one of my tests. It's either this solar tower or Ma, or oddly, if the enemy is on the other side, Tugger is the primary target. All right, well, so much for a short video. This took a lot longer than I thought. Hopefully I cut it down a little bit in post. But that's good, at least for those that are interested. You're all up to date with my thoughts on how the build went and the next steps. So the next episode, I'm expecting to get in contact with Mother DIC pretty soon. So that's why I was trying to rush through this so I could get the silo done. Because I dare say she's gonna either ask for resources or something. All right, so I'm gonna leave this here. I hope you enjoyed the update. Next episode, I'm not 100% sure what we're gonna do. I do want to get some iron. I've got to go back to Earth and dismantle that base. So we might do that, and then we should be able to have the resources to make the rocket ship for Mother DIC. And then hopefully we can get that built before she contacts us and tells us all the shit that she needs. But I hope you enjoyed this, guys. As always, don't forget to lead your targets, and I will see you next time.